Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudevendra Yogindram Natva Jnanapradam Gurum Mumukshunam Hitarthaya Tattva Bodho Vidhiyate. Okay. So last time we saw the topic of Atman as different from the three bodies. So in Tattva Bodha, this text that we are following, the indicator of Atman is that Atman is that which is different from the three bodies, the witness of the three states, that which is beyond the five sheaths, and that which is of the nature of Sat, Chit, and Ananda. So the first part we have covered, Atman, different from the three bodies. Before we move to the next topic, I just want to address a few questions that were there last time and clarify these points. On the Karana Sharira, or what we call causal body, it is said that Karana Sharira is Anadi or beginningless. So this ignorance of the self, when we ask, when did it begin? Did it begin this birth? We cannot say, because even this birth is not the beginning, right? So this ignorance, we cannot say that it begins in this birth, because this birth is itself not the beginning. And in Vedanta, that avidya, ignorance, is beginningless. Jiva is beginningless. Ishvara is beginningless. Chit is beginningless. The relationship between avidya and chit, that is also beginningless. The difference between jiva and ishvara, that is also beginningless. So there are 6 things which are beginningless in Advaita Vedanta. So jiveshvara vishuddha chit. Jiva, Ishvara, and the Chit, consciousness, that's beginning. That's beginningless. Tata Jiveshayor Vidha, that difference between Jiva and Ishvara, that is also beginningless. Avidya Tatchitor Yoga. Avidya, this ignorance, that is also beginningless. And the so-called connection between avidya and consciousness, that is also beginningless. Shadasmakam anadayaha. These are 6 beginningless things. Now, the second question was, can you hear me well? Yes? Okay, all right. So there was another question that there's an example. Let's say I have the glasses on my head, right? I have the glasses on my head. I forget that it's on my head. And then after some time, I realize that, oh, the glasses are on my head, right? So that is not technically ignorance. That is a forgetfulness. Because there was a point in time where I knew the glasses were on my head, and then I forgot, and then I remembered. So in this particular example, we can ascertain there was a point in time where I forgot that the glasses were on my head, right? But that is forgetfulness. What we're talking about here is ignorance. It's absolute ignorance. Why do we say that? Because knowledge is not something that can be forgotten. True knowledge cannot be forgotten because true knowledge is beyond the realm of thought. So therefore, this ignorance is anadi or beginningless. The jiva is beginningless. Ishvara is beginningless. That chit, consciousness, is also beginningless. These are all beginningless. But the beautiful thing is that this avidya or this ignorance is beginningless, but it can come to an end. Brahman is beginningless, but also endless. That's the difference. Another question was asked about avidya and maya, right? Are avidya and maya, is that the same thing? So maya, when we talk of maya, that is what we call cosmic karana sharira. So the cosmic causal body is maya. The individual causal body is avidya. So there's a difference, right? Cosmic causal body is maya. What does that mean? That means that cosmic causal body, it is Vishuddha Sattva Pradhana, means it's predominantly sattvic. This individual causal body is Malina Sattva. It is more rajasic and tamasic than sattvic. This cosmic body, this qualifies Ishvara. The individual cosmic body qualifies Jiva, right? And because of that, that Maya is not something that, because it is predominantly sattvic, that Maya is a creative power of Ishvara, or we're defining as God right now, but later on we'll define it better. So that Maya is a creative power of God, because it is predominantly sattvic, it's not harmic. And Bhagavan or God is Mayapati, the Lord of Maya. But in our case, because that same thing is predominantly rajasic and tamasic, it is called ignorance. It is called ignorance, and it actually, what it does is it veils the truth from us because it's predominantly rajasic and tamasic. And therefore, the jiva is called as Maya Dasa, right? The servant of Maya. But here we have to understand it's really that avidya. So for God, for Ishvara, Maya is a creative power. For jiva, that same thing is known as ignorance or avidya. One might ask, how can something be so different at the cosmic level and on the individual level? So this is an example that you can bring to mind. A cosmic level, you have the whole ocean. And then at the individual level, you have a wave. Now, in essence, both are water, but what we're saying is the ocean has a totally different property. The ocean is very vast. And in the ocean, creatures can actually live and they can survive. But in the wave, that can't happen. And the wave is not fast. The wave is very, very much finite. Similarly, if you think about a forest and a tree, a forest in totality that can house animals. It can provide shelter to so many. It can provide habitats, but a tree not necessarily. So in this way, yes, even if that thing in essence is the same, the property can be different from a total standpoint and different from an individual standpoint. So what Maya is to Ishvara is a creative power, but what avidya is to jiva is ignorance. It is ignorance, right? So existence, so the follow-up to this is similar to individual causal body being due to ignorance. Existence of Maya is also due to ignorance. Yes, from the absolute standpoint, Brahman alone is. So now we will move on to the next topic. But later on, maybe if there's time, I can clarify a lot of things about Maya. But for today, we're going to move on to the next topic. Now, we were going to the 3 states. So if you have Tattva Bodha, I'm on page 55, should be around there for you. Avasthatrayam kim? What are the 3 states? Avastha. Avastha means states. Traya, 3 states. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushuptyavasthaha. They are Jagrat, waking, Swapna, dream, Sushupti, and deep sleep. These are the 3 states. So first of all, when we come to this, we don't even know that in and through the world, we experience 3 states. As far as we're concerned, we feel that we are only the waker. We're just the waker and we are only in waking state. But what this analysis really does is it tells us this is a waking state, this is dream state, this is deep sleep state. Now think about who you are in relation to that. So we'll go first with the waking state. Jagrat avastha ka. What is this waking state? Shrotradi jnanendriyaihi shabdadi vishayaischa nyayate itiya sa jagrat avastha sthula sharira abhimani atma vishva ityuchyate. So this waking state, what we call Jagrat Avastha, it is when Shrotradi Jnanendriyaihi, when our faculties of knowledge, of seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, Shabdadi Vishayaischa Nyayate, they experience sound. So through the ears, we experience sound, faculty of hearing. And then through the faculty of touching, we experience touch. Through the faculty of seeing, we experience form and color. Through the faculty of smelling or first tasting, we experience different tastes. Through the faculty of smelling, we experience different smells. So it is this state where actually we experience the world, the physical world, the external world through our sense organs. So the sense organs experience the physical world, the sense objects around us. This state is called Jagrat Avastha. Yasa Jagrat Avastha, the waking state. What is the speciality of the waking state? Sthula Sharira Abhimani Atma Vishva Iti Uchyate. That jiva, here this Atma is really that jiva, is predominantly identifying with the gross body. So in the waking state, there is identification with the gross, subtle, and causal bodies. This is there, but predominantly the gross body shines out. So this is why the jiva is predominantly identified with this. We do a lot of things with our gross body in the waking state. It's called Vishwa. The jiva here is called Vishwa. Vishwa simply means that which is all-inclusive. And all-inclusive because really there's a gross, subtle, causal body in waking state, but the predominant identification is in the gross body. So what we experience every day, our daily experience of interacting with people, speaking to people, talking to people, reading, writing, walking, traveling, all of that takes place in the waking state. This is the simplest one, okay? Now, we will go to the dream state. Dream state, Swapnavastha Keti Chet. What is this dream state? Jagradavasthayam yad drishtam, yad shrutam, tad janita vasanaya, nidra samaye, yav prapanchav pratiyate, sa swapnavastha, sukshma sharira abhimani atma taijasa ityuchyate. What is this dream state? Jagradavasthaya, that which was experienced in waking. Yad drishtam, yad shrutam, that which was seen and heard. They've put drishtam and shrutam means that which was seen and heard, but also that which is smelled, tasted, touched, that was which was experienced basically in the waking state. All of that, janita vasanaya, that which sort of created a vasana, a deep impression in us, that which created a real deep impression in us in the waking state, nidra samaye, at the time of rest. Rest meaning the intellect has gone to sleep. At the time of rest, yaha prapancha pratiyate, that kind of world which we create, that is called swapna avastha. That's called dream state. So what is happening here in dream state? Dream state, let us say, I went through my day and I did everything, and there was some place that I really, really wanted to travel to, but I couldn't go. For some reason, I couldn't go. Things didn't work out, and I really wanted to go there. Or there was something that I really wanted to taste or eat, but for some reason, I just couldn't get it. I couldn't try it. Whatever it is that we wanted to do, but we couldn't do, and it's a deep, deep impression, or even if it's something that we're afraid of, let's say we're afraid of somebody hurting us or harming us, we're afraid of a rat or cockroach coming to our house, whatever it is, whatever we are afraid of, whatever is a deep impression, be it fear, be it desire, whatever, even anger that's very deep, that if we have a deep dislike on someone, about someone, towards someone, and we cannot express it. And at the same time, also beautiful things. If we, in the waking state, we keep on reveling in the name of God, all of these kinds of things, which we cannot fully express for whatever reason in waking state, probably because we don't have the opportunity to do so, probably because our intellect stops us. Especially if we want to do something wrong, our intellect will stop us and say, you can't do it. These impressions, they come in dream state. So in dream state, what happens is the intellect is not available. The intellect is not available. So now you're not interacting in the gross world. Your sense organs are not interacting in the external world. In dream state, there's a mental world that's being created in one's mind. So you move from this outward going awareness to something that's internal. And in this internal dream world, the intellect has gone to sleep. That nidra samaye means the intellect has gone to sleep. And therefore, all kinds of things will come up in the dream. All of these vasanas, these deep impressions, they will come out in dream. And yes, they're quite hazy and they're quite mixed. You know, you might see somebody, you might have wanted a really nice cake when you were awake, and you might have wanted to see a really amazing friend. And then in somewhere in dream, you're in a zoo and it's your friend that's eating some cake. It might be all jumbled up. But that's what happens in dream state. All of these things happen there. And in dream state, prapancha. Prapancha means a world is created. Pratiyate, a whole new different world is created. So now you don't have the gross body there in dream state. And we don't have the sense organs interacting with the world. We have an internal world where the dreamer, it now creates the waking mind. Now this same mind projects this whole dream, and you are in the dream and everything else is in the dream. So that same mind, let's say, projects that I'm in a beach somewhere under the hot sunny day and just watching the waves and seeing all the birds in the ocean, flying across the ocean. And so I am that, again, that person in the dream. I am the beach. I am the waves. I am the birds flying across the waves. I'm the sun. I'm the sky. I'm the people all over, all around. And so that one mind now appears as an entire world. That one mind appears as sentient and insentient beings. That one mind appears as both that enjoyer and the enjoyed subject, the object, enjoyed object. That one mind appears as both that enjoyer and enjoyment. And that one mind is also facilitating the process of enjoying. So that one mind appears as everything. And this is a real important state, a really important state in Advaita Vedanta, because it shows us that all of these things are actually possible. That one can actually appear as many. One can actually appear as both the sentient and insentient. One can actually appear as the enjoyer and enjoyed objects. One can appear as the entire world. So in dream state, all of this happens. That the mind projects an internal world. And Sukshma Sharira Abhimani, that jiva, meaning that jiva who identifies with this, is called Tejasa. Tejasa means that which is bright, that which is effulgent. And the idea here is that one is creating such animated effulgence through their dream. So in the mental state, so many things happen in the dream, and we are using our own light. And that light, that effulgence is called Tejasa. So now this is the dream state. So every day we go from waking, some go to dream, and then now we come into a subtler state, which is what we call deep sleep. So let us see the deep sleep state. Atash sushuptyavasthaka aham kimapi na janami sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate iti sushuptyavastha karana sharira abhimani atma pragnya ityuchyate. What is this deep sleep state now? Atha sushupti avastha ka. So this deep sleep state has two kinds of experiences. Aham kim apina janami means I did not know anything. Sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate. And I slept happily. I slept happily and I did not know anything. This is sushupti avastha, right? When we have this experience. So what does this mean? Right, so we're going from waking. Waking, gross body is there, sense organs interacting with sense objects in the world. We're going from waking. We move to dream. What happens in dream? My sense organs are no longer working. And my gross body is no longer there. I have a mental projection. So I'm mentally projecting a body. I'm mentally projecting sense organs. I'm mentally projecting sense objects. They're all my mental projections. And then what happens when we go to sleep? What happens when we go to sleep? Now that very mind, intellect, equipment that was projecting, now it becomes dormant. So like in Drigdrishya Viveka, it says that whole unit, what we call the Antahkarana, that whole unit, the mind, intellect, equipment, ego, that whole unit, it's completely available there in waking state, partially available in the dream state, and in deep sleep state, it's dormant, right? So what happens in deep sleep state is, because my mind, intellect, equipment shut down, I cannot experience anything. I have an experience of nothing. I'm not experiencing any object, right? I'm not experiencing an object, any relationship, any thought as such. I'm not experiencing anything because my mind, intellect, equipment, they've gone dormant. They've become dormant. Therefore, I'm not experiencing it. I'm experiencing, but I'm experiencing nothing. Let me rephrase that. I'm experiencing nothing. Blankness. Because now they've gone to sleep. And I'm experiencing nothing. What happens is all our agitations start from these such experiences of seeing something, hearing something, smelling something, tasting something. We have a continuous agitation that goes on when we experience the world. When we see something, we then think, I want to see more of it. When we're hearing something, sometimes I don't want to hear any more of it. You know, when we're tasting something, I want to have more of it, but I know I shouldn't. We always experience such agitations when we interact with the world in whatever way. But now that the mind, intellect, equipment have folded up, right? They're dormant. I don't have any more agitations. I don't have any more agitations because there's no more seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, and there's no more thinking in deep sleep. So no such agitations are there. And that's why it is an experience of bliss. They're very happy. Everybody is very, very happy in deep sleep. Nobody is sad in deep sleep. Everybody is in pure bliss. But it's not the bliss of Atman. Because in deep sleep, it's just the absence of sorrow. It's just the absence of sorrow, but not the actual experience of true joy. So we're just experiencing blankness. There is a temporary shutdown. There's a temporary shutdown. And because there's a temporary shutdown and experiencing blankness, I know nothing and there's no disturbance. Therefore, I am happy. I am happy in deep sleep state. I'm not happy because I realize I'm Atman. I'm happy because there's no such agitation, the absence of sorrow. Now, these words, aham kim api na janami, I did not know anything, or sukhena maya nidra anubhuyate, or I slept happily. These words we cannot say in deep sleep itself. Because if we are saying these words, then we're not sleeping. So when I wake up from deep sleep, I remember that I experienced nothing. I experienced nothing. It was like a blankness. I experienced nothing and I slept peacefully. I remember that. So now the question comes, who remembers that? Who remembers that? So what really happens in deep sleep? In deep sleep, it is true that the mind and intellect are dormant, but there is a very subtle thought that is there. That subtle thought is called ajnana vritti or abhava vritti. It's not a gross thought like that thought of experiencing an object or seeing or hearing. It's not that kind of thought. It's a very, very subtle thought. That's why they say there are no thoughts in deep sleep, because it's a very subtle thought. It's not like a concrete thought. But basically, this very, very subtle thought is present and it is there. And because it is there, when I wake up, I'm able to remember that I had this experience of deep sleep. So the one that experienced the deep sleep is who? That subtle thought, what we call abhava vritti. That's what experienced deep sleep. And then when I wake up from deep sleep, I own that up and I remember, yes, I experienced deep sleep. Now, this deep sleeper, this is called Karana Sharira Abhimani. So what happened in gross body, the specialty was the identification of in the waking state, the specialty was the identification of the gross body. In the dream state, you drop the gross body and there's only the subtle and causal body, and the speciality is the identification with the subtle body. In the deep sleep state, you drop the gross body, you drop the subtle body, because the mind and intellect equipment are folded up. Then what happens? The specialty is the identification with the causal body. The causal body as it is. So that jiva identified with the causal body is called prajna. Now this word prajna, it's called, the derivative is prayena agnaha, the one who mostly doesn't know. Why? Because prajna means the one who knows nothing. So mostly doesn't know because they still know nothing. Prayena agnaha. And another derivative for this is prakarshena janati iti prajna, the one who knows all. But what do you mean the one who knows all? The one who knows all, but the knowledge is dormant. It's dormant, it's in seed form. So therefore it's there, but it's not being expressed. So thus, this is the deep sleeper. Now, a question might come in your mind that maybe this ego is actually the self. Why is this ego the self? Some might think, well, this ego is there in waking state, right? Ego, mind, intellect, equipment is there in waking state. It's there in dream state. It's partially available. And it is also there in deep sleep state. It's dormant. So can that be the reality? The answer is no, it cannot. Why? Because it is illumined by something. It is still an object of experience. It is still illumined by something. And that which illumines it is called sakshi. Sakshi means that pure awareness, that pure consciousness. Sakshi. So now how do we look at this whole thing? So we're going to go through a process of anvaya vyatireka. That means a method of presence and absence. In waking state, now just think of all of the things that we have in waking state. All of the things, right? So we have the gross world of objects. Gross world of objects. We have all of our relationships. We have all our careers. We have all our responsibilities. We have the gross body in the waking state. We also have the waker in the waking state. So we have this whole conglomerate of things in the waking state. But what happens now? Take all of that and now move to the dream state. What happens? That whole world is not anymore there for you. That all those responsibilities is not anymore there for you. The gross body is not there, and definitely the waker is not there anymore. So all those identities, all those things that I've experienced in the waking state, when I move to the dream state, they are all gone. They are all gone. But yet, there is that consciousness, awareness, illumining this whole thing. Now I'm in the dream state. In the dream state, what do I have? I have this mind-made-up world, this whole imagination that's there in my mind that I'm creating, I am making up. I have the subtle body, the mind, the intellect, and the very dreamer who's dreaming all of this. I have all of these things there in the dream state. But when I move to deep sleep state, what happened? All gone. That subtle world that I projected, that mind, intellect, equipment, again, it is all dormant, and that very dreamer is now turned into the deep sleeper. Now, in the deep sleep state, what am I experiencing? What is the experienced object? I'm experiencing nothing. I'm experiencing nothing. And here, there is the identity of the deep sleeper. What happens when I move this to the waking state? That all goes. That all disappears, because now in the waking state, I'm experiencing something. And now I am the waker. So all these states, what happens is there is an absence of them. In the dream state, in the waking state, there's an absence of dream and deep sleep. In the dream state, there's an absence of deep sleep and waking. In the deep sleep state, there's an absence of waking and dream. There's an absence. But amidst all of these states, there's a presence. There's a changeless presence. That changeless presence is called Sakshi or Atma. That is your true self. Not only the states get negated, but the objects. So in the waking state, there are gross objects, gross experiences that I have. But then what happens is they get negated. They get negated in other states. So waking state, I have gross objects. The dream objects and the deep sleep objects are not there. They are not there in the waking state. In the dream state, I have subtle objects. The gross objects and that blankness is not there. In that deep sleep state where the blankness is, the gross objects, the subtle objects are not there. So one gets negated in the other. Not only the state, not only the experienced objects, but the very experiencer itself. In the waking state, the waker is there, but not the dreamer or deep sleeper. In the dream state, the dreamer is there, but not the waker or deep sleeper. And in the deep sleep state, the deep sleeper is there, but not the waker or the dreamer. So the states, the objects, the experiencer of those states and objects, they all get negated in each other. They all have an absence. But that which illumines all of that is continuously present. And that is called Atman. That is what we mean by witness of the three states. Now, when we say witness, what does it mean? The term used is sakshi. Sakshi. So you might have heard this term before. What sakshi means is sakshat ikshate. It directly illumines. Directly illumines meaning what? It doesn't require any medium to illumine. To know something, we require a thought. To know a book, I require a book thought. A thought of a book to know the book. To know a computer, I require a computer thought. But this sakshi illumines without thought. It is pure awareness. It illumines without action. So action for the sakshi is not I am illumining. It's just in its mere presence, things become illumined. It illumines without effort. When we have to see something or hear something or think something, it takes a lot of effort. This is an effortless illumination. It illumines continuously. It's a continuous presence, and it illumines changelessly. So Sakshi means it directly illumines, from which illumination, it's not a verb. It's not a verb. It's a direct illumination, not through the mind. It's an illumination that by its mere presence, things are illumined. And it is that changeless illumination, it's that changeless awareness. That is called Sakshi. So now put the whole thing together. What is Atman? Atman is that which is different from the three bodies. Sthula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharirat, Vyatirikta. Different from the gross body, subtle body, causal body. These are all changing. These are all objects of experience. These are all inert. They are insentient. Then, Avasthatraya Sakshi, the witness of the three states, waking, dream, and deep sleep. Why? Because each state, each object, each experiencer in each state cancels out the other. And that which is continuously present, that is called Sakshi. Now, we will just look at Mandukya Upanishad in relation to this, because it presents it very, very beautifully. I'll read through this mantra, I'll explain it, and then this will give the overall picture, because the idea is that all of these, what we call vivekas discernments, discerning Atman from the three bodies or from the three states or from the five sheaths, they all have their basis in the Upanishads. So this particular one, Avasthatraya Viveka, that's found in Mandukya Upanishad. So I'll just read this, I'll explain a little bit, and then we will get the full picture for where the source of this definition is. Okay, so this is mantra number 7. Na antaf prajnam, na bahish prajnam, no bhayataf prajnam, na prajnanaghanam, na prajnam, na prajnam. So first I'll explain this. Here in the Upanishad, Atma is being indicated. How? In the language of negation. And this we will find in many of our Upanishads, because the idea is that it is beyond thoughts, it's beyond words, it's beyond any speech. It is not antah prajna, means it is not that inner consciousness, means it is not that dreamer. It's not the dreamer. Antah prajna, that, so to speak, that consciousness that's turned inwards, it's not that. So it's not the dreamer. Na bahish prajnam, and nor is it the waker. Bahish prajnam literally means that consciousness which is turned outward now. Bahish prajnam. It is not that waker. No bhayataf prajnam. Somebody might ask, what about this in-between states? So in-between state, maybe when I'm daydreaming or when I'm sleepwalking. What about those states? He says, no, it is not the in-between states. No bhayataf prajnam. What about deep sleep? Na prajnanaghanam. It is not also that deep sleeper. Na prajnanaghanam means deep sleep is where we have that ghana, that homogeneous mass of blankness. It is not that either. Na prajnam. And it is not that cosmic Ishvara either. Na aprajnam. Aprajnam means it is not also an insentient being. It's not insentient. So it is not this waker, not this dreamer, not this deep sleeper. It's none of that. It is just pure awareness. Is it something I can know? Adrishtam, avyavaharyam, agrahyam, alakshanam, achintyam, avyapadesham. Adrishtam. It cannot be known because Atma cannot be seen. Adrishtam cannot be seen, heard, smelled, tasted, felt. It's not an object. It's not an object of the jnanendriyas, the faculty of knowledge. Avyavaharyam. Can I transact with Atma? No, it is not. Atma is not something that we can transact with. We cannot produce Atma, buy Atma, get Atma. We cannot transact with it, but it is that which illumines all transactions. Agrahyam. Can we grasp Atma? Can we get Atma? No. Atma is not something that we can grasp with our organs or faculties of action. We cannot hold it, grasp it. Alakshanam. It's not something that we can infer. It's not like, to infer that because there's smoke, there's a fire. It's not something we can infer because it's that which illumines that very mind. Achintyam. It's definitely not something we can think of because it's that which illumines all thoughts. Avyapadesham. Is it something we can speak about? No, because it's beyond words. Words cannot even indicate Atma. Words can only indicate that which has certain qualities, that which has a jati or species, that which has guna, attributes, that which has kriya or action associated with it, that which has some bandha or relationship, or that which is out of convention or rudhi. But Atma, being that which is not a part of any species, being that which is free from all qualities or attributes, being that which is free from action, it's the actionless self, being free from all kinds of convention, that Atma, being free of any relation, that Atma cannot be indicated. It cannot be spoken of, really. It can't be spoken of. We can speak of somebody, if somebody is from a certain species or group, we can say, oh, that's a tree species, that's a cow species, but there's no such species for Atma. We can speak of somebody through their profession. That person is a teacher, that person is a cook, but Atma has no such action. We can speak of someone through a quality, like that tall person, that tall, fair person, the one that's stout, that person. Atma has no such quality. We speak sometimes of people in terms of their relationships. This is my brother, this is my father, this is my friend. Atma there's no other thing than Atma. Or sometimes a person is named a certain way. So you are named, let's say, Janice, or he's named, let's say, Adam. That is their name. That's their convention. But that convention we get because we're able to point to something. But Atma, nobody can point to it. So it cannot be actually named. And it says, so it's not the knower, it's not the experiencer. It cannot also be known. So what do I do? What is this Atma? Ekatma pratyaya saram. That which is continuously present. That Atma means I. That Atma which is continuously present. Prapancho pashamam. Even when this whole world is not there, as in waking world, dream world, deep sea blankness, even when this whole thing is not there, it is continuously there. And it is shantam. It's of the nature of absolute peace. Shivam, it is absolute bliss. Why? Because this Atma, the beautiful thing about Sakshi is it's untouched. So it's that which illumines, but it's ever untouched by what it illumines. It is not touched by anything. So when I see something that's black, do my eyes become black? No. If I see something that's round, do my eyes become round? No. In the same way, whatever Sakshi illumines, Sakshi is untouched by it, unaffected by it. And therefore, it is Shivam. It is absolute bliss. Advaitam. And this Sakshi, this Atman, is non-dual. There's nothing other than it. Chaturtham manyante. Some people think that it's called the fourth. This is in reference to waking, dream, deep sleep. Some people think that Atman is something else that they have to get, something else that they have to attain, something else that they have to produce. But actually it's not. Sa-Atma, it is your own self. Savigneyaha. And that is the only thing that is to be known. So in this way, both in Tattva Bodha and through Mandukya Upanishad, it has been established, and through the logic of our great rishis, it is established that you are not the waker, not the dreamer, not the deep sleeper. You are truly that witness consciousness of all the three states. They come and they go in your awareness, in your presence. And you, being that, are untouched by all of it. So today we will conclude with this. And if there are any questions, you can stay back and ask. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.